everyone. Welcome back to Wine Women Life. I am your co-host, Christina. I am so glad to be back for another podcast. I know y'all noticed I'm missing my co-host this week. She'll be back next week. Today, I'm just going to do a solo podcast. And as you can see from the title below, we're going to talk about a very important, good subject. But before I dive into that, let me tell y'all, I got my tea, okay? Because I'm spilling some tea today. Anyway, before I get into the subject matter, I never got a chance to properly introduce myself. Now, my co-host, we're going to do a proper intro video in the future at some point. But for now, I just want to let y'all know I'm Christina. I'm half of Wine Women Life. And just to give you a little background about our podcast, we created this podcast as a way to bring forth inspiration to everyone because we have very personal stories. We have very personal opinions that delve a lot into relationships, friendships, life in general. We touch all different types of topics, and a lot of it has to do with growth and healing. So the inspiration behind this podcast is our life coach, Coach Ken. I'm giving you a shout out. Hey there. He's our inspiration. He's heard a lot of our stories, okay? We've had a lot of sessions with him. And he came to the conclusion that I should start a podcast. He was like, why don't you start a podcast to introduce, or why don't you start a podcast to talk about some of the things you've gone through? I'm telling y'all, I have some really funny stories. I have some crazy stories sometimes, and we have nothing but time, okay? I haven't given you all of my stories yet. We only have 3 podcasts out, but I have nothing but time. But he said, yeah, why don't you create a podcast, find a good co-host, and go from there? So right away, I knew I was going to pick Ariel as a co-host. And that's not a knock to any of my other friends. I absolutely adore you all. I love you all. But I picked Ariel because Ariel and I actually discussed starting a YouTube channel together way before our coach mentioned the podcast. We never even thought about a podcast. We just thought, let's just start a YouTube channel together and let's talk about relationships. Because, hey, why not? And we thought it would be something fun to do, but we never did it. We talked about it, never did it. My coach came to me and was like, you should start a podcast. And then it was kind of, that idea was kind of resurrected, so to speak. And the rest is history. The rest is history. If y'all seen the first 3 podcasts, y'all know Ariel got the goods, okay? She be bringing it like, y'all see me just sitting there like, yes, girl. I absolutely love that woman. But anyway, that's a little backstory of this podcast. So let's get right into the topic, okay? The topic is about creating your own happiness. And I want to talk about why that's so important in general and why that's a topic that's near and dear to my heart. Let me take a sip of tea, okay? So, first of all, this topic is so important because so many times we get into relationships, we get into friendships, and we start to rely on those people to create our happiness, to make us happy. And the reason why we do that, from my observations and my experiences, is because we are missing something inside of us. There's a void inside of us that we have yet to feel. And we look for other people to fill those voids for us. But it's such a dangerous path to take because eventually you're going to suck the life out of someone by doing that. This subject is near and dear to my heart because I've been that woman who relied more so on relationships to make me happy. And I think I mentioned that in our first podcast. I think, did I? No, that wasn't our first podcast. Y'all, I can't remember. I feel like I mentioned that in one of our podcasts that I used to rely on relationships to make me happy. I can't remember. But I used to do that. And I learned a very valuable lesson from it. So I'm going to tell y'all some of my stories, and then I'm going to talk to you about how you can get over that, so to speak. So I would say mostly in my first long-term relationship. My first long-term relationship was back in 2014. That's when it started. It lasted for 2 full years. In our second podcast regarding mental instability, I talked about a period in my life when I moved out. I stopped attending religious services with my parents. They didn't take too well. They didn't like that at all. And it brought me into a really deep depression. On top of that, I didn't have any friends. And I didn't have anybody to really talk to pour my heart out to, except for my partner at that time. And I didn't realize it, but I was sucking the life out of my partner. I really was. Now, I will say this. In the end, we really were not compatible. Like it was great while it lasted, okay? But we realized we were really going on 2 different paths. We evolved a lot throughout that relationship. I started changing, he started changing, and we just started going this way. So inevitably, that's, kind of what happened. But in the middle of all of that, I would say like a year or 2 later, I did some reflecting on, I always do reflecting on my past relationships so that I won't bring the same type of ish into the next relationship. So I reflected on that relationship and I realized that I had relied on that man so much to make me happy. And let me tell y'all what I was doing, okay? I wanted that man to come over every single day. And here's the thing, he started off doing that. Like, he started off like, oh, let me help you move. Let me help you this. Let me help you look. And we were spending time every single day together. Like, we were always going out to eat. And, like, he would meet me after work. Like, we would have a great time, right? I started to get spoiled. I got used to it. And eventually, he started to pull away. And not pulling away as in a sense of I don't want to be with you anymore. It was more so he needed to live his life. He had a life. He had a passion that he wanted to pursue. And my neediness was preventing her from doing that. And so every time he wasn't with me, I was mad. I was sad. I was upset. And mind you, this guy was like spending large amounts of time with me. He was like, boom, boom, boom. I'm coming to see you almost every day. But then when he wanted to start delving more into his passion, he realized, dang, I've been spending all this time with this girl and I haven't spent any time with me, myself. It caused a lot of arguments. And I said that to say, this is something that's prevalent. It's something that happens a lot in relationships. It happens on both sides. A man could do it too, but I feel like women, we mostly do it. And the reason why is because I think it's just because of the way we're made up naturally. We're very emotional beings and we thrive off of that emotional connection. And the way we build an emotional connection is by spending time with the man. And now I know I'm speaking for myself. That's the only way I can build an emotional connection is by spending some sort of time with a man, whether it's physically next to him, going out with him, or talking to him on the phone every day. We're video chatting. We're like some sort of interaction, constant interaction for me. And men, they're very different. And I didn't realize that at the time. But I also didn't realize that I was relying on someone to fill a void that was happening inside of me because I lost so much. I lost my friends. I felt like I lost my family. I even lost my identity. Who am I? I don't know who I am. I don't even know what I want to do with my life. It wasn't until 2016, y'all, that I realized what my passion is. And that, of course, is beauty, makeup, beauty. Now, I haven't really consistently done it because I do work a full-time job. So it's been hectic. It's been really, really hard trying to do that. But I realized this is what I want to do. I know I want to dive into this field. That was the year that I decided to do something for myself. Actually, was it 2016? It was 2016. Or was it 2015? No, it was 2016. Yeah. That was the year I decided to finally do something for myself. That was the year I started to make my own darn self happy. And it's been a journey ever since. And I found myself getting better and better and better and better. I'm not 100% there. I'm not even going to sit here and pretend like, oh, honey, I'm good. No, I'm not. Like, I have my flaws. I still have my insecurities. I still have all of those imperfections, but I have grown so much. Oh my God, I have grown so much. And I just want to urge all of you, if you are struggling in that area, just know that you're not alone. This is very common. Um, Start to do things. First of all, I believe in writing stuff down. Now, you do things how you want to do things, but I believe in writing things down. Write down what you love in life. Write down things that you want to do in life. What's on your bucket list? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? And then I would say figure out a timeline of when you want to reach those goals. Those are the things that are going to help fill your life. Those are the things that are going to help fill that void that you may have inside of you. One thing I absolutely love, y'all, is going out on a date by myself. Like, I've been single for 2 years now. And like I said, I'm dating, but not in a relationship. I'm still not in a relationship. And I like to do things by myself sometimes. You know, right now it's a pandemic. You know, it's kind of calming down, but not fully. But if you feel comfortable enough, grab some food from somewhere. Light some, if you don't feel comfortable sitting in a restaurant, light some candles in your home, order some food, pick up some food, cook your food, however you want to do it, and have a date with yourself. Have an indoor picnic with yourself. You don't need a friend or a boyfriend, or you don't necessarily need somebody right there with you to feel, to have a good time with yourself. You really don't. I think it's so important for us to dig deep down inside of ourselves and root out whatever it is that we're feeling deep down inside and get that out of us. If you're feeling lonely, write it down. Whatever you're feeling, just write it. If you're feeling unhappy, if you're feeling neglected, whatever it is that you're feeling, write it down, and write down things that will change that. Things that will make you happy in the long run. And this is not an overnight process. This is something that can possibly take months to years for you to overcome. But I just want you to know that there is no better love than self-love. There is no one that can love you more than you. And I mean that. You can think a man will love you all you want, but I'm going to tell you something. A man can only do so much. We as men and women, we want to compliment each other. Or man, woman, woman. We want to compliment each other, not rely on each other for happiness. Y'all got that? We want to compliment each other, but not rely on each other for our own happiness. Because there's only so much that I can contribute to a person, and there's only so much that they can contribute to me. But guess what, baby? I have to fill up my own cup. You have to fill up your own cup. You can do this. I know you can. I know you can. Okay? So that's my little tidbit for today, y'all. I told y'all, I don't know if I told y'all this, but it's going to be short. I don't have Ariel with me today, okay? Because Ariel, she can go. Okay? So it's going to be short today. But yeah, I hope you all took some really precious gems from this and know that you're not alone, that it's a completely normal thing. But the first part of it is acknowledging how you're feeling. You're feeling unhappy about something, acknowledge that, write it down, and then find things in your life that can fill those voids and do them for you. Do them for yourself. Take yourself out to dinner. Buy yourself flowers. Run a bath for yourself. Light some candles for yourself. Write yourself a poem. You don't need other people to do those things for you. You got that? Relationships, no matter what type of relationship it is, they are like icing on the cake. You are the cake itself. But those relationships, they're the icing. Those are the things that come into your life that can add more beauty to something that's already beautiful. And that's you. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to another podcast, another episode of Wine Women Life. If you have not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. You know, I'm a little offended. I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like I'm not. I'm a little bothered that you haven't hit the subscribe button, okay? We're going to bring you a podcast every Wednesday. That's our goal. Every single Wednesday to bring you a podcast and hoping that you would take something away from it that you can use in your life as an inspiration. Until next time, y'all, peace out. Bye.